We're going to begin. I'm just checking my recording now. I think we're on. Hope so. I want to look at this writing, and then I want to look at a poem, and then we'll sit together and look at the 7 factors. We're going to be calling them out a little through the practice. This is good. Greg, just so you know, you're getting tons of birthday wishes in chat there. Make sure that you look today. So I'm going to try to end the screen so that I can read this. Hopefully you can all see this with me. This is not exactly a poem, it's just a missive around intention. Let's just take a minute to look at it. Intention is everything. The present moment is the only bearer of our wisdom and love. That's an important statement right there, isn't it? So pointless to judge our appeared faults when intention continues as our greatest path. In life, thoughts of praise and blame create nuance and false identities. This delusion of self can often be misunderstood, or worse yet, be evidence for an insufficiency. But the mind winds always blow in unknown directions as life presents the practice path now, groundless and unforeseen. In the midst of it all, we can only be kind. May all our intentions, our actions be in consideration of self and other. But if hurt ensues, we should know that it also bears possibility and fruit, perhaps not obvious to us, but there nonetheless. It is not necessary to judge what life offers, but to regard it as a most precious gift and just be kind. Being true to self is important, and being true to all life is more. We share values, hopes, and sorrows. This honesty reveals the true heart, gives credence to our lived intentions, and discloses the truth of our wholeness. I love that line. It discloses our intentions, realize, disclose the truth of our wholeness. To know oneself and to hold firm to our intentions will surely lead to insight, understanding, and our greatest loving presence. Life is too short to spend in anything, truly, but awakening. Sharing our open heart delivers and propagates us to the end of suffering, making the embodied intentions we set something that will transform the world, something which we all aspire to be a part of, these good intentions. So just reflecting on that for a moment, just something that was written a long time ago about intentions. I'm going to see if I can't find my way to another share. This is a poem that was read, 2 that were read yesterday. I'm going to use them as reflections before we begin today. That's the same one. Let's try again. Let's see if I can locate it. Maybe not. Let's see. Ah, there it is. This is called The Bright Field by R.S. Thomas. And it's a beautiful statement about the intention, and then let's sit together with it. I have seen the sun break through to illuminate a small field for a while, and gone my way and forgotten it. But that was the pearl of great price, the one field that had treasure in it. I realize now that I must give all that I have. This is the truth of intention. I must give all that I have to possess it. Life is not hurrying on to a receding future, nor hankering after an imagined past. It is the turning aside, like Moses to the miracle of the lit bush, to a brightness that seemed as transitory as your youth once, but is the eternity that awaits you. This thing a beautiful poem by R.S. Thomas on Greg's birthday. This transitory youth that we all chase after, when in fact, eternity in the present moment awaits you. And so let's prepare to sit. And I'm going to see if we can't just move through some of the 7 factors, and then I'll put up a little table so we can talk about them a bit more. But see if we can't find ourselves, even before the bell rings, really. There is a vast intention already alive within you. It got you here this morning. It got you out of bed when it would have been easier, or to, depending on your time zone, to be having a lunch or dinner with family or others, or tasking a million other things you could be doing this moment. And yet something alive in you chose stillness, silence, the open space of awareness. And so see if you can sense where that really powerful, energized intention lives within you. How do you make contact with that? You got yourself here. This counts. It's a lot. What did it take? And to some extent, I want us to all know that it takes a little bit of talking with ourselves. A kind of, well, I could this, or I could that, or, you know, maybe this, or maybe that, especially on a special day like a birthday for Greg. How easy would it have been to spend time in phone calls and loving messages and not take time to truly be companion, present to oneself and the whole of the world. And so we are grateful for this heart's longing, for this faith that there is benefit to be gained, for this confidence and trust that to continue will equal benefit, contribution, and goodness. We rest in this to begin. May we offer this practice then to all beings everywhere, without exception, beginning with this one, you, until all the world is free of its sorrow. And so seeing if you can feel into that heart's longing, that energy, that wholesome desire. This is the essence of intention that brought you to the practice today, and that brought you to the practice as Greg and I were talking 12 years ago or before. And see if we can't rest in that energy, in that felt sense For some, it is an aliveness. For some, it is a sense of compelling energy or vibration. And we incline the mind towards the body, feeling the stability at the base, and allowing that flow, that life being lived and breathed through you, just making contact with that on the in-breath and the out-breath. Beginning is the first intention, bringing mindfulness, heedfulness, one's clear attention with intention to each breath. This is how we best begin. If the mind is restless or wandering, we attend to the breath with keener and keener interest. This is one of the instructions, balancing these awakening factors. If you notice you're a little distracted, a little restless, we stay close to the breath, feeling, staying in contact with the sensations of breath from the beginning to the middle to the end. Without pressure, however, we rest in the wave of the breath. Within a half a breath, we have to re-intention our mindfulness, our attention, and redirect once again ourselves back to the breath. And once we find the object of the breath, we may begin to notice that there is a soothing balm, a cool breeze, a warm glow, whatever it is you're needing, actually is available and balancing these factors of mind, cultivating this for you. Isn't it amazing? It only takes about 20 breaths till, if you're needing energy, we find the energy we need and direct it. If we're needing soothing, calm, we can find the breath, and that offer is also made. This is the balancing factor of attention that we call mindfulness. The first factor of awakening. Just be watchful that we're not pressing forward, that we're staying embodied, the present moment, just this one breath. This is a little bit of a habit when we start cultivating a little energy or virya, the second factor of awakening. We're going, oh, I can find this object again and again. And we get a little excited about that potentially, or we get frustrated with that and bail. But this is where we stay. This is the benefit of virya, this energetic sense to continue the second factor of awakening. Whether we're sluggish or whether we're restless, the first hindrances are beginning to arise. We simply notice, and rather than be carried away by that impulse, we come back to the breath. And then we do it again, this breath. See if you can stay in contact with the direct experience of the breath rather than the thinking mind. We continue to unhook and come home to the breath, intentioning and retentioning with mindfulness and energy. Let's see if we can stay in this disciplined effort for a few moments, and then you'll begin to feel the result, which I will name in a few. If you begin to get distracted, you can remember the essential aspirations to cause least harm. That means not get carried away by the habit mind, to contribute to the good by staying with your mindfulness and your disciplined effort. And to do so with that faith, that trust, and that confidence that there is good to come from this. You may notice you're getting bored. That means you're not recognizing the truth and the benefit of the breath itself as an object of awakening, the metronome to the present moment, the life-giving quality of the breath itself. And so we re-intention and recommit again and again. The habit energies and the hindrances rise up necessarily. It is good to know them. But don't be hooked. We recognize and immediately self-liberate. Come right back to the breath. Again and again, forever again. Just this one breath. Enlivened, enlightened. And for some of us, we may stay in this disciplined effort for the entire practice. And that's just appropriate and fine, particularly when there's distraction, restlessness, when the mind is being carried away by its habit nature. It might just be right to stay here like this. About this time, the forces of Mara can come to greet us. Our typical habits can begin to arise, and we can fall away, fall out of mindfulness at this point, fall into the distraction, or fall into the sloth and torpor, into a kind of daze, a cloud, morass. And recognizing this is, in fact, an enlightening factor, because then we can apply the good medicine, either more discipline, more intention, or to sit back and relax just a bit so we can feel the calming balm of the breath. Like being rocked in the cradle. The breath can offer each whatever is needed. If you're feeling slothful, tired, listless, dreamy, you may focus on the in-breath. Energizing, enlivening. If you're restless, stay with the whole of the breath, breathing in, feeling the transition, staying in mindfulness with the whole of the out-breath. This is where we give our whole selves, mind, body, and heart, to the practice. The heart of the practice is the intention. For the benefit of myself and others, I will continue like this. And then as we continue, for some of you, you will stay here just like this. For others, you'll begin to notice the breath is found with greater ease, becomes the object of the beloved. And so we unify as we have become slightly, the mind is pacified, is no longer seeking something else. We just rest in the joy, the beauty, the love, and the connection of the breath. It invites a calm, a contentedness, a piti, a rapture, joyful endeavor. See if we can find qualities of that joyfulness, that easefulness here in the breath. That sense of connection, wholeness. Mind, body, and heart in unity here, breath by breath. We are now enjoying the breath, finding the way to the breath with ease, resting. We're cultivating here a steadiness of mind. We can discern a long breath from a short one, the beginning, the middle, and the end of the in-breath and the out-breath. We can also begin to notice that still and silent open space that holds everything, including the sensations of the breath. You notice the breath and also that which knows it. We're beginning to cultivate qualities of absorption or samadhi. These are strong, stabilizing, calming, steadying, enlivening qualities that come in this
part of the practice. And so we simply stay and enjoy, feel nourished and supported, having found that inner resource, this quality of mind to offer to oneself, like offering that dose of good medicine. We rest in samadhi. The stillness and silence becomes all pervading. The object of the breath, the sounds, the sensations no longer a distraction because of the stability of mind. And from this stabilized and unified mind, this concentration, this factor can then be taken off the cushion into the world. We can then begin to attend to other objects beyond the breath. We can practice for a few moments by expanding beyond the breath itself, opening this unified, gathered, collected, and steady mind, offering it to sound. We notice sounds in their arising and passing, not pulled in either direction. At this stage of the practice, the silence is most pervading, with temporary objects of sound, of hearing coming and going. No distraction, no distress, no struggle. We don't let go of the breath here. We use it as we need it to continue to unify the mind. If we get carried away at any time with thoughts about the sounds, with ideas of pleasant or unpleasant, if we're evaluating, analyzing, thinking, come back to the breath. The sound should appear like a pebble being dropped in a vast, still, and silent lake. This quality of mind is vast and cannot be disturbed. And if you notice the disturbance, simply come back to the breath. The balancing factor of mindfulness is ever present. We could move beyond sounds to include thoughts. Not looking for thoughts, not creating thoughts. Simply resting in that still and silent lake, that quality of open, spacious awareness. this unified mind that can turn towards anything without struggle or distress, to see clearly through continuous mindfulness. We can include our own thoughts. We rest the mind in that open, spacious, still and silent field, that bright field. That can now include thoughts. And then we can rest back completely, opening, expanding this quality of concentrated, stabilized, calmed, unified mind. We can open to include everything: sounds and thoughts, emotions, sensations, but none are disruptions. No struggle, no clinging, no pushing away. We're resting in that quality of mind that cannot be moved or disturbed. This is the mind of equanimity. It creates all objects, treats all phenomena equally, lets it rise and appear and fade and go. Not me. And from this, the greatest mindfulness arises. We can see the object, we can stay with the object, we can be neutral or equanimous with the object. We can hold it as long as is needed to see its true nature. We can do this with sounds, we can do this with thoughts, we can do this with our own emotions: grief, anger, joy. We can hold them all. And be watchful of the idea that this is a mind-only matter. This is using the whole apparatus, the mind, the body. We are just as open to the experience of life as it is lived through the body, as well as our own hearts? Can we cultivate the qualities of true friendliness, of genuine care? Can we hold a wish for well-being, no matter what is arising? Can this nurture and nourish our intention? And the mind of the great awakened one was unmoved, and the heart was completely open. And this is how we make intention real. This is how we enliven intention and take it off of the idea of just um, meditation, just compassion as a thought. With this quality of mind, we begin to embody and live the intention in a real and present moment way. We show up completely like this. And can then respond, not from fear, not from habit, but from this place of wholeness, steadiness, calm, joy. And then we take these qualities of meditation, things like stability, compassion, kindness, and we enliven them with our thoughts, words, and deeds. We make them real. We respond to the world. May we all have happiness and causes for happiness. May we all be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May we be grateful and take great joy in our good fortunes of health and wealth, of joy and connection. And may we offer this to others. May we rest in the awakened heart mind. Free from distress, free from sorrow, free from confusion. Completely free. And all will be well. And it will be a very good day. Taking a little bit of time here, not rushing. It's not helpful. Just feeling into the body, seeing how you can begin to invite a little movement. I'm going to see if I can't find that table for a second here. Let's see if I might locate it. I think it's right there. We go. I think I've got it. I'm not sure anybody can see that yet, so let me see if I can't try a share. Can anybody see that balancing enlightenment factors? Dennis, you got it. Okay, yay, this is pretty good. We're just going to look at this for a minute. These are just some of the factors that we reviewed just now to see if we can't, I'm going to move this a bit, see if I can't get a little more opportunity. Okay, so these are the balancing factors. And really, more than remembering the words, it's not very helpful. What I'd like you to do is first recognize that without mindfulness, none of the other factors are possibilities. So without presence, without paying attention, without being here, seeing what's true, both within and around you, that's mindfulness, right? This paying attention in the present moment. Not only to oneself, but eventually to what's going on around you. Without that factor, it's called sati, there is no other possibility for awakening. And so we begin there. We steady the mind there. We do just what we did today as a way of being able to gather and collect one's attention, steady it in the body, get out of the thinking mind, to begin to actually awaken and enliven the mind to these other factors. And so let's just look at them very briefly. These factors are the factors that we want to commit ourselves to, both in practice and in action, in some way, continuously, right? We're always looking at them. So right from mindfulness, the very next factor that I used or looked at with you was virya, or energy, a certain kind of sticking with it. Did we remember me talking about that? Like, whoops, the mind's going to want to leave now. Now there's a little interest in what about this and what about that? And maybe I should be going over here, maybe over there. But actually virya, we begin to just stay with breath by breath,
There is a tendency for the hindrances. I mentioned these also. Sloth and torpor, a kind of sluggish going to sleepness can easily happen in this phase, as well as restlessness. Just get me out of here. I'm going to write my grocery list. I'm going to set my course for the day. And we notice there's momentary choice points. I have to make a decision. Whatever else you do in this practice, we simply come back to the breath and come back to the breath. And we all have to do it 100,000 times. So that's just the nature. But there is a cultivation of an energetic quality in it. As we stay with it, did anybody notice, oh, it gets a little easier. Oh, the other things, the thoughts aren't becoming so distracting. Oh, I'm actually even feeling a joyfulness in fully arriving to the present moment. And that's the third factor beyond mindfulness and virya, is then this, and I named it, this joyful endeavor, which we call piti. Rapture is a dangerous word because it implies a lot of crazy energy. This is a calm contentedness. More energy is there. I'm willing to stick with it. I'm noticing it's not hard to stay with it now. And I'm feeling a little joy in the endeavor. I would say use PT this way. Rapture is a dangerous word, but we are becoming, I think, enraptured, in love, in joy with the breath. And I think this is really important and useful. And so I hope you notice that. It's like falling in love with the breath and one's present moment. I'm just here with this and here with this. And there's both an ease and a sense of connectedness that comes with it. And then, so those are the first factors, actually the first three factors. Investigation can come next for me. Once I'm engaged, I feel connected, I'm more whole, the mind is easily going, finding the objects, then we can begin to investigate the object. We can notice qualities of the breath, for example, a short one, a long one, a jagged one, a smooth one. We can notice, oh, I wasn't breathing. Oh, I'm breathing longer. Oh, a quality of the breath that can tell us more about the quality of mind. The breath is and the body are mirrors to these qualities of mind, and we can begin to investigate that and see, oh, when I'm in this place with this kind of breath, it can often invite or mean this kind of mind. We can begin to inquire, investigate, explore, and expand with that steadiness of mind. We are not thrown off so quickly by the qualities of the changing object, is maybe a way to look at it. Winds blow this way, winds blow that way. I'm still able to stay in connection. I'm not pulled away, I'm not carried away, and I'm not shut down by the experience. This is the beginning of that. And so we can stay and investigate, look more closely, move closer in investigation. Relaxation, Passaddhi, beautiful place. I get there easily now. This is one of the benefits of the practice, is that it doesn't take too many breaths before I can rest back in that vast open quality of mind in a unified way. And I think this is one of the long-term benefits of a daily practice. Fairly easy to find my way back there and out of reactivity with a couple breaths. This is useful. Also, relaxation is a place to rest. I use the word rest a lot in the practice. We all need that. And Passaddhi is that true relaxation of mind and body. Nothing to be or do, no becoming required, no actions at this time required. And this resting back is what we'll be doing on Saturday as we are reflecting formally on what our intentions and aspirations are for this new year. Concentration, I mentioned it several times. It keeps us united, unified, whole, so that we don't split off into thoughts about this or that. We're really present moment, just here, resting in samadhi. It's a fairly enticing state, by the way, if you could feel any parts of it. We're not caught in the mind stream at this point. We're actually more clearly able to see it, but not be joined in it. We have a concentrated mind that doesn't get distressed or carried away by thoughts, particularly, or worry. You may or may not have felt a moment of that. And then equanimity, the reality that we can open that mind then beyond the breath, beyond the body, beyond our own thoughts, to include our relationships, experience with others, experience in the world. And that upekkha, equanimity, a very important quality, as Greg and I were talking, no doubt, the reality of greater and greater equanimity with all of life becomes a balancing factor and a factor of awakening. So I just thought I'd mention these. Why am I naming these today? Because these are qualities that we are wanting to bring and cultivate in our practice, and should become a part for many of us of our intention. We want to be developing these qualities. We set the aspiration to bring these qualities both to our formal practice, and then, in the other 23 and a half hours of a day, to our daily lives. I don't know how to do this. I must say, I do not know how to do this without a formal practice. And I do know that through my formal practice, I am able to gather these qualities and bring them into my everyday thoughts, words, and deeds. This is the goal for all of us, right? This is the way to true happiness, to true freedom, and to be a true contribution in the world. So there's that, the 7 factors. Beginning, of course, as I said, with mindfulness, ending in equanimity, which leads to and breeds more mindfulness, more inquiry, more energy for the practice. Yes, I can email the balancing list to you. Shivam, thank you. I'm glad you were here for the practice today, and I'd be happy to send this to anybody who's interested. Just let me know. We have a few minutes. I just want to talk about the practice, what your experience was. Where did you catch some of these factors? What did you notice in them? And just to point out once again, it's Greg's 80th birthday. So excited to celebrate you, Greg. And thank you to all of you who are sending those warm wishes to Greg. So come on, say hello. Thank you for letting me know that you'd like the factors. The question I'm asking is, what do you notice in your own practice? Where did you catch any of these factors? How'd you notice them?
Diane.
Yes.
Diana.
Yes.
I find the joy and the rapture right when we start. I always find this feeling of, wow, I'm with all these wonderful people, and I'm being led by a great instructor, and I find that joy right away as I start the practice.
Beautiful. Do you notice that it gives you some energy to continue, Robin, even when it gets a little hairy?
Yes.
Yeah, doesn't
definitely.
it? Yeah, there's a beautiful energy in that joy and that rapture. And in fact, it says if we don't make contact with that eventually, we will quit the practice. And can't you see how true that would be? Right?
Definitely. Yeah.
Like, yeah. if we can't find what we call the honeyed tip of the practice at some point, you won't keep practicing. If it's just,
Definitely.
noticing thinking, noticing distraction, noticing wandering, noticing judging, noticing, who would keep doing that? Well, not me. Not me. So it is joy and rapture. I'm glad that you made contact with that, because we have some evidence that people who can make contact with that goodness, it's an energetic sense. It will keep us going even when the hard times come. And by the way, we are guaranteeing that the hard times will come. Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
It's not a cakewalk, folks. You did not pick the easiest path. This is the clearest path. It is a path that has a guarantee. There's no doubt about it. And Greg and I were talking about that guarantee. Greater equanimity, greater joy, greater stability, greater calm, greater presence. No doubt. It's absolutely guaranteed. But I don't know how to do that without some honey in the formula. So thank you, Robin. Good to see you. What else did people notice? I'm glad joy came at the beginning. That's the best news ever. So Chris, yes, the concentration, the inability to maintain that starts and stays with the breath. Yes. And the calming nature of you and your voice. Well, gosh, if that works for you, let's keep using it. That's good. The truth is that calm is within, and then it gets vibrated out. That's true. And it's true for all of us, by the way. So don't believe that if you don't have my voice, that somehow you don't have that calm or that nature. You do. It is inherent to you. And the gift of this precious human life is available to you. And yes, I happen to know this for myself. It takes practice to access, and then happens more and more and more naturally as I stay in contact. So thank you. This concentration practice is one that we will go back to, and we go back to at the beginning of every year. Because without that mindfulness, without that stability, the mind will be caught in the swirls, endless cycles of thinking and suffering. So thank you, Chris, for that. Who else? What else did you notice?
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Kelly.
Hi. I noticed I have not been a regular exerciser for a very long time. And so we got an exercise bike with, instructors, and they're always saying, when you start to feel the burn, stick with it, stay here, stick with it. And so I've been, trying to be really disciplined about my exercising. And that came to mind this morning when my mind started to wander. I just said, stick with it, and came back, just like on the bike. And so I don't know, for me, that was the correlation today was, those same qualities of sticking with it, even when it's hard.
Yes. Thank you so much. It's exactly the same. That's a beautiful analogy. It is no different. It is a type of training and exercise so that we have that available to us, just like our strength, right? Just like our flexibility, just like the physical qualities. It would not be available to us, would it, without that endeavor? And how to make it joyful, I think, comes with seeing then a little result. Noticing that I'm not quite as reactive, or that I don't just jump off into impulsive speech, and by the way, that's not where it stays. So, just so you know, those of you in mid-phase practice who go, I'm not noticing that. I'm noticing my judging continuously. I'm noticing my aggression continuously. You're actually further on the path, actually, to be able to turn towards our own distress is really mid-phase, what we call that practice. And yes, we do get spun around with it for a time, but we keep doing it. And then we notice, oh, now I can really form relationship to that tumult, to that storm, to that vast energy without being carried away, but not at the beginning, right? It's not true. And just like in exercise, we can get to places in the exercise where we're stuck, places in the exercise where it appears we're not gaining, places in the exercising, right, physically as well, where maybe even we get injury, or we have to take a different approach, or we can't just continue in the way we're most comfortable or familiar. This is all a part of the essential path. And it is a quality of mind. We know this, by the way, since Kelly's speaking to it. I love you're bringing the physical. We know that the greatest athletes are not necessarily ones who have the greatest bodies. And we know for sure they're ones who have certain qualities of mind. And that sticking with it, that being able to find the positive, the being able to use the information and investigation, the willingness to adjust and adapt as one needs to continue, that these are the factors that actually equal even great athletics. And so guys like Pete, who teach this MPEAK, are teaching these very qualities of mind to improve not only the mind, but the body. But we know without that quality of mind, all accomplishment, all intentions, all aspirations, whatever they are, could not be realized without these gathered whole and concentrated qualities of mind that we're practicing today. So thanks, Kelly, for that. That was lovely. Who else? What else are you noticing? I find that the investigation of the felt sense, yes, finding the energy right there in one's own body mind, allows an open, spacious feeling that helps in staying. That's exactly right. We can't stay in the wind. We can stay in the mind that is experiencing and observing the wind. But the wind's going to tear us up, isn't it? The wind's just going to tear you up. So really, it's how to create relationship where we rest in that spaciousness, we rest in the stability, and then look at these qualities of mind, our aggression, our hatred, our anger, our confusion, our resentment, our doubt, no problem. Because we are not only that wind, we are that vast open space of awareness that holds it. And but we've got to practice to get there. This is unifying qualities of mind and body. And hopefully, again, some of you felt that. Thank you for that, Courtney. I'm so glad that you're noticing that any day can be a very good day with these qualities of mind. Who else? Come on, say hello. I'm just writing so you know who wants the table, so I can make sure to send that to folks. What else did you notice? Anybody notice none of this happening? A completely distracted, fragmented, no unified, concentrated, stable mind? Yes, of course you did. It happens every practice. Who noticed that? This is not a failure of the practice. That's actually a part of the path. That we notice that I can't stay. I'm really being carried away.
Yes, I did, Diana.
Thank
I
you.
had a hard.
Why don't you talk about that, Vicki? Thank you.
Yeah, I haven't meditated in a while and or come to practice in a while, and I have once in a while. And when I tried to, I just kept, my mind kept going off into other things, and I would get mad at myself and say, no, come back, just stay, breathe, you know, concentrate on your breath in and out, in and out. And then I would think of, well, if it's going in, I can feel my nose hairs going in. And then I thought, well, then my mind went to something else, you know?
Yes.
So I had a really hard time with that today.
Yes.
But I'm being patient with myself, amazingly enough.
Lovely. This is the key. Thank you, Vicki, for that, because when we notice the distracted mind, When we notice fragmented mind, when we notice unconcentrated mind, we are once again liberated. The very noticing actually becomes the point of liberation. And so we don't keep pressing ourselves. We are grateful for the noticing. We invite the mind home to the body with kindness, with true friendliness, and we simply begin again. And yes, I have had years of practice where I did nothing but notice the distraction. Grateful for the distraction was my practice. And then simply coming back again and again. Talk about dedication, right? Because there isn't the joyful endeavor. There isn't the vast energy. There is the judgment. There is the criticism. There is the failure, feeling of failure. And so how to stay with that becomes critically important. And the way to it is this: recognizing distracted mind is awareness itself.
Thank you. Thank you.
You already are aware the minute you noticed that wandering mind. And so we are joyful. I caught it, yay. And find something you can offer yourself. Good news. I can see where I am.
Diana, you just said,
Yeah, go ahead, Greg.
you just said something that I think is really key there, because earlier in the conversation, you talked about the fact that we need to have this, you called it sugar or the sweetness. I call it the sweetness.
Honey tip.
Yeah, it's a sweetness of the breath or whatever you want to call it. And that when you're in that spot that I've often found, the desert, where, it seems like there's nothing but distracted mind. But then when you can realize it, and then the key there is to come back to it without any self-judgment and to sort of see it as, this is great, because then there is that sweetness again in the very recognition of it.
That's right. Isn't it? It's truly sweet. And I love that word, sweet. It really is a true sweetness to say, but I'm home again, with myself again, awake again. Find something to offer yourself. Give yourself a piece of that candy, however you can do that, and make it consistent. Make sure every time you notice the wandering mind, awakened now. Find the way to that so you can remember not to fall into the furthering habit, by the way, of the unguarded mind is what? Judgments, ill will, cruelty, doubt. We're actually now feeding the monster when we don't respond to and with ourselves. It's the essence of a compassion practice, isn't it? Away and back, oh yay. Oh yay. However you get to that, give yourself that honeyed tip, because there are many moments in the practice that we're going to go through the dark. We're going to go through the confused. We're going to go through the doubting. We're going to go through the hindrances. They're necessary to see the way to their end. It's a requirement. It's not a failure. It's the requirement. And yes, Vicki, I know too, that when I don't practice regularly, that thinking mind wins. I do. I know that too, which is what keeps me practicing, because I don't want to live there. I don't want to live in that mind. I don't want to drag that one around with me to the smart and final. I don't want to go with that one. That's deadly. It's dangerous and it's not very kind. So I practice simply to set the mind straight. The true definition of medi is a right measure, right balance. So thank you all for that. And Greg, thank you. The sweetness. Without a little sweetness in the practice, what would keep us there? Really, what would keep us there? If you can't give yourself an attaboy, I did it, wow, my first 20 breaths for the day, and then noticing the benefit of that, which is definite, by the way, there's no doubt, you will notice the benefit of your daily practice. And we're going to go back to it in January, and Saturday, we're going to start again. So for those of you who have lost your way with the daily practice, or maybe who have never had one, We're going back to at least those 60 breaths a day to start every day, every single day, and noticing the benefit to us. That honeyed tip will be certain, and invite that energy, that joyful rapture, that inquiry, that interest that will sustain our practice and lead to those other factors, by the way. There's nothing you have to do. It does that for you as we continue. I'm going to get ready to sign off. We'll sit for a minute together. Is there anything else that we need to say? I think I've got everybody's name. I've got about 10 people here. If I can remember, I'll just send them to as many people as I can think as well. Got it. Anything else? No. Okay. So let's just sit for a moment, see if we can't find the way to that sweetness, that birthday cake for Greg. Yeah, yum. All the blessings. May we gather them up here. All of the goodness, all of the kindness, all of the genuine care, all of the friendliness, all of the patience we can gather, all of the kindness. May we offer this first to ourselves. Pour it over yourselves like honey. Let it be soothing, calming. Let it offer you essential sustenance for this path. May we aspire to this, to begin and continue. And begin and continue. This is the way to true happiness and freedom. And we find it first in our own bodies and breath. We let all judgments, all condemnation, all doubts simply fall away as we embody the breath. May we all be happy. May we all be safe. May we all be free from inner and outer affliction. May we offer ourselves ease and patience, kindness, and genuine care. And then we make this not only a very good day to be alive, but it then becomes a very good year. May we aspire to this together, one breath at a time. And may this practice contribute. So be it. And happy birthday again to Greg.
Happy birthday, Greg.
Yay to Greg.
Yay.
Thank
Should
you
we
for
all sing?
practice today. Thank you, everyone.
Should we
Greg,
sing
may
to
you
Greg?
have a blessed day. I can't think of a better way to start it than this, so thank you.
Thank all of you.
Happy birthday.
I feel very blessed today. Thank you.
Happy
Yeah.
birthday.
Did you hear that birthday greeting, Greg?
Happy birthday, Greg.
I did.
Yes. Enjoy your day.
All right, everyone, be well. Greg, have a fabulous day.
Happy birthday.